Alright, welcome everyone to the Chronologically Gaming pre-show, where we do play every video game in order of release. All systems all over the world. Thanks so much everyone for joining us. If you're here for the live show, even double thanks. We started playing all these games in 1971. Not really 19, like we went and played the video games of 1971, and we're now in December 1982. But not just the console that you may know and love. We do every console, every computer. Howdy, Brad. Welcome in. We're going to have some fun tonight because anytime you play on the Vectrex, you always have fun. It's impossible. It's like riding a jet ski. You cannot not have fun while riding a jet ski. You cannot not have fun doing the Vectrex. Yeah, maybe there is. I think someone said in the chat that there's a running drinking game while we're on the show. Hey, Brian, glad to be back. Thanks for being here for the live show. Everyone's guaranteed to have fun because the Vectrex is involved. I'm doing my best to try to give you the best look. It's all emulated, of course, but the most authentic way to play the Vectrex. The only way we can really do this show, and probably the reason why no one else has done this kind of show before, or this scope, is because you have to be able to emulate to be able to hop from all these systems. There is nobody in their right mind, even if they had every single system like we're showcasing, they wouldn't be able to play and go from system to system like this. But maybe that's where the future is headed of video gaming. Maybe at some point you'll be able to go to an online service or something and you have everything just at your fingertips and you can just click and play anything you want and it'll be very simple. It'll be like I don't know, Netflix or Disney Plus or some streaming service, but it's all video games. You just can play everything. And maybe we already have that right now because it's archive.org kind of has your playground. You can just click and play online everything. Oh, if it's not working, do you think you could fix it, Brian? Ugh, that's a tough one. Well, everybody that's... Oh, Manly. Yeah, kids, they should force kids to play... You know how there's video games that you should play before you die? Usually people make a list of the top 10, top 30, top 100. That's what they should do. Or maybe they'll turn this show into research later, and they'll force kids to watch the show. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to do it, Brian. If it's not working, the technical expertise, it would you could look it up. You could figure it out, but just you have the time though. I'm running lower and lower on time. As you can see, we've had breaks on the show, had a week off, and then come back for a week. I'd like to just go solid, but it's been difficult to do that lately. But everybody that's here for the live show, I posted a backlog video of the rest of the games that were released at some time in 1974, and the thumbnail had Wipeout, which was by Ramtech. What I forgot to do, though, was actually play Wipeout. So if you're here for the live show, stay tuned after the credits. We'll do a fake credits roll and then play Wipeout, just a little bit of the 1974 game, just so I can show and catalog that we've played Wipeout. Oh man, yeah, the rest of the Vectrex games are very, very expensive. And thankfully the catalog isn't that big, but there is a lot of homebrew out there. The scene is really, really nice to port a lot of arcade games that never got ported home, vector-based arcade games, and the Vectrex can do it. Thanks to those awesome developers. And there's the console, the brand new one, Atari 5200, right behind my back. That's the newest console, but it's not the best. I still say ColecoVision's the one that's pushing what video game consoles can do right now. It was the biggest shock, surprise, and majority of the games. I mean, come on, we got Turbo. It's the very first home console game with a steering wheel and pedals to drive. I should say shift, not pedal. Yeah, it has the experience of driving at home, and that's on the ColecoVision. It's amazing. I'm excited for that at some part in the near future, Manly. Oh, there's one later, yeah. Showtime. Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Either the video games are getting better or this show's getting better. You be the judge. Join me in the beginning of December 1982. And we were last playing Centipede on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. But don't get too excited, it wasn't the official Centipede. This is December 1982. Nothing's really official. There's barely anything official right now. Let's see what our next game is, where we head into really obscure territory for this show's episode. This is Simex Rex for the Atari home computer, only on the Atari home computer. This is the 431st game we've seen for this computer, and all I have is screenshots. I have scoured and looked for anything else that I could find, but all I got is screenshots for this one. It's got an alternate version, but we're going to pop in Simex Rex and play on our Atari home computer. This is by Bill Leuenberger. Way to go, Bill. And Vectrex Computer Systems, released in the beginning of December 1982. Simex Rex. We get tunes. Oh man, I love the Pokey Chip because we get some songs. I'm gonna listen for the public domain. Is it? I believe it's public domain. I don't think they made their original theme song. It's really hard to tell right now because as we're getting more and more games with music, I can't figure out if it's something they've made for the game or if they just pulled it from classical music. So Simex Rex is basically Latin for Bug King or King Bug, and that's what we're going to be. This one is the very first time we've seen anything by Bill Leuenberger or Vectrex Computer Systems. So we're going to just go in to see our handicap options. If we do handicap, I'll switch the screen out so you can see. All it does is add 2 more extra lives in the bottom right of the screen. You start with 3 or you can go 5, but that's the handicap. Not really much of an option considering all the games we've seen so far. Man, listen to those music, the tunes. If you go pick the level though, it actually switches the level out. Very little. Well, let's go ahead and push start to play. Cool, I like the sound effects already. Oh, okay, so the first thing I noticed, the controls are a little strange. Whenever I move, I don't freely move. It's like it's a tile-based move. When I tap the joystick, I have the Atari VCS joystick in my hand. When you tap it, you move like a tile automatically. So it's not a smooth movement experience. If you look down at the bottom of the screen, it looks like we have a timer going. The green bar slowly going across the screen. I'm explaining as much as I can because there's no artwork about this game or descriptions that they have about it. So what you see here is me describing the first experience with Simex Rex. The first thing I think of is just Panic, Space Panic and Apple Panic, all that stuff. But here's the way it works. You use the red button to lay bombs, and it blows up holes in the ground. You can fall down the holes, and you don't take fall damage, which is amazing. If you go down the bottom of the screen, that's how you refill your bombs. But you want to go climb up some ladders. You can see over here on the side, walk across the other side, lay a bomb, and then come back. You just have to hold down the red button and then place a bomb to blow up some holes in the ground. It's like Panic, but instead of blowing digging holes, you just blow up holes. All right, so we ran out of bombs. Let's go down to the bottom of the screen. But no one's dying yet. I wonder if I'm supposed to explode the enemies? I'm not quite sure. So the only description I found is these are meant to be bed bugs. Simex Rex, we're supposed to be king of the bed bugs. Let's see if we can make a giant tunnel for them to fall down, but I wonder if they have to walk close enough. And I see someone in the chat bringing up Load Runner. I have no idea what Load Runner is. It's the beginning of December 1982, and we haven't played or anything like that. Yeah, it looks exactly like that. Let's play this one here. Oh, okay, if they get close, it really doesn't blow them up. I guess they have to fall, right? Yep. Fall down, blow up. Nice, and we get points based on how fast you do it, and then move on to the next level. You notice the level just slightly changes, just a little bit. But I like it. It works all right because of all the games you could play right now. The blowing up platforms is awesome. Oh, it doesn't go past. Interesting. Okay, I thought it was going to do something to the bomb, or at least blow up to the bomb. So we're using the bomb for demolition purposes, not actually to kill any of the bed bugs. They have to fall down the hole, and that's how they die. We call these video games fixed platformers here on Chronologically Gaming. In other words, it's a platformer that you don't jump. You just walk around and climb up ladders. This is the 33rd fixed platformer we've seen so far on all systems, all over, and all video gamedom. It's a video game that includes insects. It has a level stage select, which is kind of nice. And it is controlling, just strangely, the control is not tight and not very well done. That's my only gripe, is the way that this is like tile-based control. On the screen, it looks like it would be functioning like most of the games, but when you play it yourself, you can tell it's not programmed or plays as well as the other ones. We played slower-paced Panic-style games that are like this, and so this one just feels even more off than some of the other ones because of the tile-based. The mechanic, though, the idea is fresh. Blowing stuff up's awesome. So this is the 11th time we've played a video game that is a variant of Panic. We've seen all the way back with Space Panic. We've seen Apple Panic on every computer, even the Apple, MS-DOS, VIC-20, the Atari 800. So this one, this computer already has Panic. You can play Apple Panic on this computer. It plays much better than this game, Simex Rex. But you are digging. We've also played Monsters on the BBC Micro, and Alien Panic on the Commodore VIC-20 and on the Commodore 64, and Vic Panic. We did play a prototype of Lode Runner, because someone mentioned Lode Runner. We played Miner in as a prototype version, but the real Lode Runner isn't out yet, and there is not any digging. But I like how you can redo your bombs, but it's just the control. The control feels off, and it doesn't feel polished. In fact, the version we played that was the prototype of Lode Runner, it feels like that plays even better than this. This one feels more of a prototype than a prototype we actually played on the show. Hey, high scores, 85. We have not played it yet. We're in the beginning of December 1982, playing and seeing every video game. This one is a very obscure one called Simex Rex. So it does go level by level. It doesn't switch everything up like we saw that game recently on the ZX Spectrum that was doing it randomly. Oh my gosh, look how many bed bugs are here. That is way too much. Cool, so there's a quick taste of Simex Rex. Of all the games you can be playing on all home computers right now, Simex Rex is fairly average. The mechanic of blowing stuff up is awesome. It just needs better play control. The gameplay isn't very tight and isn't very well done. I wouldn't give it in the range of broken for all the games you could play, or bad for all the games you could play. I'd say around average for everything you could play on all home computers up to this point. Looking over the chat, I see a 2.5 to 3 stars coming from James, and I'm thinking that too. It's pretty average. Simex Rex, I can understand why I don't see any artwork. Usually on the show, when I go to find these games and get ready to do the live show, if a game has a lot of love, you have people that send in the scans and catalog a lot about the games. If you can't find a lot about the game, usually it's because something's off, something's weird about the game. Most people are saying 3. I'm gonna have to say 2.5. It's not, I almost said bad because of the way it's controlled or the movement of the character, but that bomb mechanic is what's bringing it to 2.5. All right, after that game, let's see what our next one is. From one home computer to another, here on the TRS-80 is the brand new game Circus. Circus, well, not Circus in the arcade by Exidy, or Circus on the Atari VCS, or Circus on the VC4000, or Circus Adventure on the Dragon 32. This is a totally different Circus. And this one, all I have is some screenshots for it as well. So another obscure, hard to find artwork for the TRS-80 version. Let's pop in Circus and play. This one is by Brian Howarth, Digital Fantasia, and Mollymerks in the beginning of December 1982. All right, so this one, I believe I just have to type in Adventure. This is the 144th game we played for the original TRS-80 Model 1 or Model 3. It's the 9th time we've seen a video game by Mollymerks, bringing us games like Cyborg and Engine Driver. So I'm going to load up Adventure number 6. This is the second time we've seen Digital Fantasia, and it's Brian Howarth's company. What's your name? The computer's getting so personal now. First, the computer wants to know your name, and then it wants to know your bank account number. At least it's done it on a few of these games. We've seen Brian Howarth 10 times. This is the 10th video game that Brian Howarth has done. Way to go, Brian. This is the Brian Howarth's Mysterious Adventure series of games. So we are playing an adventure game. This could be considered the 5th or 6th game in the series. I'm going to say no, we're not loading any game. But we will go on an adventure. The reason it could be the fifth or sixth part of the adventure series is because they split one into two parts. So on the TRS-80, we've seen the Golden Baton in this series, the Time Machine, the Arrow of Death Part 1 and Part 2, and Escape from Pulsar 7. The Arrow of Death Part 2, we've also already seen on the Atari home computer and MS-DOS. On VIC-20, they had the Arrow of Death game, but they only got Part 1. And I said that before. It's too bad. You only got Part 2. So anyway, this one is taken very similar strides as the Scott Adams style adventure games. You can see it has, you can have an adventure without leaving your TRS-80. We're right here. Hit enter to start your adventure. So this one is the 6th or 7th in the Mysterious Adventure series. This one is just called Circus. Here on the TRS-80, this very first version is the first time we've seen this part of the series. This version, of the very first time you could play it, is why I couldn't find a lot of artwork. There's plenty of other computers that this comes to, but this one's just a little bit harder to come by, a little more obscure. All right, so it is text adventure time. We have no pictures. We have seen pictures in adventure games, but this one has none of that. Allegedly, this one is better than the last one we played in the series, Pulsar 7, and according to the author, Brian Howarth says this one, Circus, is his favorite. Let's see if this is our favorite. So far on Chronologically Gaming, we are not new to text-only adventure games. If you're looking at this and like, oh my gosh, this text, is this new? No. This is the 228th text-only adventure game we've played on Chronologically Gaming. And I say text-only because we split it into text with graphics or graphic adventure games. This is a text-only adventure game. It's the 228th. It is a first-person perspective adventure game. It actually says, I'm in a field, rather than other adventure games that say you are now in a field or you have picked up a blah, blah, blah. It actually is doing it from a first-person perspective, which is kind of fresh. All right, so the way this game works, and the reason I'm going to give you a synopsis is we don't have the artwork for it. So in this game, your car is broken down miles from anywhere. Heading off in search of a gas station, 3 miles down the road, you come upon what appears to be a circus tent, nestled in a small valley. Sounds and music come from inside. As you reach the gate, suddenly there is complete silence. You walk fearfully towards the entrance of the tent, wondering what exactly is going on here. Maybe if you're lucky, you can find some gas for your car. So that's how this game begins, or the synopsis of where we are. This takes place, a circus. It's contemporary because we got a car we're driving around, and we do have a way to save the game. So all very good pluses. Let's play the game. I'm in a field. We can see a circus tent. All right, let's go ahead and head south. It says, roll up, the circus is in town. And notice how the game is split in two screens, kind of like it does with the Scott Adams games. Okay, now we're on the road. Let's go road. We're going to be doing that with adventure games for a long time. So I'm by the roadside. We now have a field. Let's go ahead and head south. The bottom screen is continuing to scroll, displaying what I last typed in. And now I'm in a lay-by. I got my car that's nearby. Let's head south again. Let's just ignore the car. I'm at the rear of the car. We have a petrol filler hole. Oh, by the way, the reason it says petrol is because this game was released in the United Kingdom first. So this version, where we are right now, is in the United Kingdom for the TRS-80 version. And it's going to be released in the UK on lots of other home computers too. But Brian Howarth and the Mysterious Adventure series originated in the United Kingdom. Now, I have to tell you, when we play adventure games in the United Kingdom, a lot of times they're really obscure and very, very difficult. The puzzles are hard. So these games, these Mysterious Adventure games, are a lot easier to digest. They're a lot more fun because you don't have to solve cryptic puzzles. It actually is, it's all right. Way to go, Brian. All right, so here we go. We're at the rear of the car. Let's go ahead and open the trunk. Trunk. Ooh, see? And I didn't even know there's a trunk here. You had to look and examine the car to know if you could open the trunk or what items you could get there. All right, so after we get that, let's go ahead and get everything. Span, can we do that? Does it work? Okay, good. You don't have to do the whole thing. I want to get the whole spanner. I want to get the flashlight. And I want to get the penknife. Do I have a penknife? What's my inventory? Inventory. I'm carrying flashlight, spanner. Oh, okay. A gas can, a petrol can, if you will. Car keys and a penknife. We don't need the knife. I don't want to scare the clowns, and the clowns come after me when I get in the circus. So let's drop the knife. All right, let's head north now. Go back where we were before. Go north again. You can see the field is visible. Let's go field. And now we're in the field again, and let's head north. Keep it going. We're back where we started. So the beginning of the game, if you were to go right in the circus tent, you're most likely going to die. It's like a pseudo horror game, not really like horror, maybe borderline thriller. I really wasn't sure how to say the theme of the game. I just said its setting takes place in a circus, but they are doing something that's a little off, like something's creepy going on here. All right, let's head west. Oh, let's go tent. Go tent. Aha, and if you try to go in, it's too dark. So, light, flashlight. Now we can see. And can we see anything? I don't think so. All right, let's head north. The tent entrance, we're now in the circus ring. We can see a pile of rope and a ladder. Let's just keep going west. We're out now in the mess room. We can see the freezer. Let's look at the freezer. What do we got? Fish. Take fish. Can we eat fish? It says, I see something. Like we've been looking around and haven't seen anything the whole game. All right, let's head east. Back where the pile of rope is. It's south. And we're at the tent entrance. And now head east. We're in the small room where a large tank is. Head east. And then we have water here. Let's swim. It feels like we're in total blackness, but wouldn't feel safe swimming. And then now that we're swimming, we have a sea lion. Oh, that's fun. All right, so now let's feed the sea lion because we have a fish. Oh, and because we feed the sea lion, he tosses us a snorkel. See, it makes total sense. All right, let's get the snorkel. Snorkel. And we got it. All right, and that is where we're going to stop our first experience with Circus. The first time you ever played this part in the series of the Brian Howarth Mysterious Adventure series. This one's okay. Of all the games you could play on all home computers, it's still fairly average. There's not anything that is pushing this or making this an exceptional adventure game or a fun adventure game. If you want more info on this game, I'm going to include a link down below to Ringa in Blue, who does a blog, a written blog, where they are playing every adventure game, text adventure game, maybe even adventure game, text adventure game with pictures. And they are currently in 1982. They've been playing everything from the beginning. They've been doing everything chronologically. So I'm going to include that link if you want to see more of what this game's like. If you twisted my arm, I might say 3.5 stars because of the locale. And I like the adventure games that give a little creepy feel, like something like the Institute that we played. Those are all interesting. So looking over the chat, most people are saying average for everything you played up to this point. I mean, most of the adventure games now, they're like copy and paste. You can do the exact similar thing. It's just how well are you writing the story is what's going to set it apart. So I'll say 3 stars for Circus. All right, with that, what's our next game? Coming up next is the one I've been waiting for. Every single game we get on the Vectrex, I'm so excited to play. This is Clean Sweep. Let's check it out. The brand new Vectrex is having games and more games pumped out. Clean Sweep. Not to be confused with the one we recently played on the backlog in the arcade in 1974 by Ramtech. Most of the time we get an arcade game and Vectrex will port it home and it's awesome. This one is not based on anything that we've seen before. So it's a whole new Clean Sweep game. The front of the box is just like the other ones we've seen on the Vectrex by GCE. Gives us a few screenshots and it actually looks most like the game, what we're going to be playing, which is kind of nice. This game is only available on the Vectrex, and it's the 5th game we've seen so far, after Mindstorm, Armor Attack, and Berserk and Blitz. Let's flip it over in the back. Evil bank robbers have just blown your bank to smithereens. As bank president, you only have a vacuum available to recover the money strewn among the rubble before the thieves destroy you. The thieves get increasingly anxious, but for added challenge, turn off the lights of the bank's corridors and gather the money through a blind maze. I don't think we've ever played as a bank manager or a bank president before, so this will be interesting. Has real arcade play is what it says here. And we have some other artwork for Clean Sweep. In other regions, it was picked up by Milton Bradley, where the whole Vectrex was published. So Milton Bradley's box pretty much looks the same. They just slapped the Milton Bradley label down the bottom. And then we have the back of the Milton Bradley box as well with the Vectrex itself. There it is. Analog joystick, 4 buttons. You can plug in another, they call it a control panel, to make it sound like it's an arcade game, because this is really close to the arcade experience. There is nothing you can play right now that is Vectrex graphics right now. Oh yeah, look at that. In the chat, it is a lot of fun. Oh, and the artificial intelligence, yeah, the other bank robbers, I guess, is what you're referring to. So there's the cartridge for Clean Sweep. You pop it in the side of your Vectrex and then enjoy vector-based graphics. Now take a look at the screenshot, and this kind of shows you what's happening in the world of emulation of Clean Sweep. It's not very smooth. It doesn't look so good. Here's the manual for Clean Sweep. Tell us how to play Clean Sweep. This one is essentially an arcade maze game that you gathered from the front of the box. This is the 325th arcade maze-style game we've seen so far on Chronologically Gaming. And Clean Sweep is the 46th that we've seen on all home consoles thus far. All right, so if we keep going down, that's what we're going to be playing as with the bad guys. Oh, yeah. And there's the story that we already read to the beginning or the back of the box. They only give us some screenshots or pictures of what we're going to look like. Here's the setup, what you're going to be doing with your Vectrex to get it going. The overlay goes over the screen. You don't need to share the television with the rest of your family. You have your own with the Vectrex. And then they explain, there's the rest of the setup instructions. Controls, there's the control panel. Analog joystick moves your vacuum around, which off the top of my head, the only game I can think of that we've controlled a vacuum was wiping in the arcade. So to play it, you can do game 1 or game 2. Game 1 and game 2 just means, are you going to turn the lights on and turn the lights off? Not really a lot of game variations. If you play a 2-player game, you're going to be taking turns like hot seat multiplayer. The Banks corridors are shown, yes, and then you can do game 2, which is that you've turned the lights off. So you start the game and you're going to find objects in the game. You are controlling the vacuum, and the robbers look just like that. They've tried to burglarize the bank. The dynamite they plan to cause an explosion, leaving the bank in a terrible mess. The corridors create a maze with money strewn everywhere. Use your joystick to maneuver your vacuum throughout the bank and sweep up the money. So we've seen this since Pac-Man, you know, and Head On. You're picking up dots, or you're picking up things on the map, and they always find clever ways to describe what you're doing. So in this one, we are vacuuming up the money. Very, very clever. Your vacuum bag's limited in what you can hold, though. You can start to see it grow larger, and eventually it'll not hold any more money, and you'll have to redeposit the money by entering the vault in the center of the screen. That's the gimmick of Clean Sweep. Your vacuum does not have to be full to enter the vault and redeposit the money, so you can fill it up anytime. Also, your bag doesn't get slow. It doesn't slow you down like we've seen with some other games. Picking up the money with your vacuum is not easy because the bank robbers return one by one to try and destroy you. Yikes, scary bank robbers. But if you want to get supercharged, you can. You can go in the bottom right 4 corners of the map and get supercharged, i.e. your power pellets like in Pac-Man. After you get all the money, then you go to the next level. If you've just been destroyed by a robber, you'll disappear and have any additional. If you have any additional lives, then you'll be given another chance. This explains what the maze is like with the hallways, the levels, number of vacuums, and what points you're going to need, because it's December 1982. You need to know what the points are, and there they are. Everything is about the points. And it does save the high score, which is a nice touch, temporarily at least. So the high score table, we've seen more and more games offer this feature, and it's big, at home especially. When you restart the game, you just reset the console. And then we have score records where you can put in notes. Did anyone do that with the manuals? Actually put notes in or your high score in? I know later we're going to see more and more manuals have places for that. And then every manual we've seen so far on the Vectrex has ways to replace the overlay, because most people either they broke down or they misplaced them. Don't forget the overlay. All right, so this one, I have other versions because this one has been very, very difficult to emulate. I'll explain a little bit more of that later. Let's pop in Clean Sweep and Play by GCE and later by Milton Bradley in the beginning of December 1982. Aww. I love it. It had a theme song and everything. Okay, so the first thing we go when we jump in, I'm just going to do game 1 because it really doesn't make a difference if you do 1-player or 2-player, is the emulation. Because this one, if you notice that the grid or the maze isn't perfect, it's not lining up perfect. But as I'm moving around, you can see my money bag filled up all the way, and I'm not picking up any more of the money. You got to go to the center, and there, you completely exhaust your bag, and then you get the points, so the points start flowing in. If you go on the bottom left, now I've been supercharged. So now you can go and turn the tables on the enemies. You see the criminals are running away, and you eat them like that. So there you go. And it doesn't matter which way you use the supercharge. I'm thinking of, like Casey's Crazy Chase, where you had to eat the certain spot or a certain place on it. But as I'm playing, you're already getting vibes of what this is. I mean, it is so much like Pac-Man. It's so close to Pac-Man. And I mentioned the Casey Munchkin because Casey Munchkin was sued because it was too much like Pac-Man. But I mean, come on, this is really close to Pac-Man too. While your character is the vacuum and doesn't really look like Pac-Man, the enemies, look at the enemies are munching as if they were Pac-Man. But it's still a good time. It is another copy or clone for games like this. At this point, I mentioned this is an arcade maze game on home console. Some of the more recent arcade maze games that we've seen and played so far have been Pirate's Chase on the Astrocade, Night Stalker, or Dark Cavern. Night Stalker was on television, then Dark Cavern was the Atari VCS version. We also played Tron, Mazatron, Mines of Minos on the Atari 2600, The Incredible Wizard on the Astrocade, and Take the Money and Run on the Video Pack. So this one isn't doing anything particularly amazing or different aside from the gimmick with points. I do like how you have the 4 power pellets in each quadrant, and you can make your way around and see how I'm getting a lot of bonus points picking up the enemies here. When someone brought up Shark Attack, that's interesting too. Another kind of one. So if you want the added challenge, you can go to Game Mode 2, turn off the lights and the bank corridors, and gather the money through a blind maze. But if you memorize this, notice as we go level by level, it's not really changing the maze up. It's the same thing, very similar to the original Pac-Man. I really wish they would do something like the more money you pick up would slow you down, like we've seen in games like Lupin the Third or Bagman just recently. And the way I've emulated this to get this to play, it really isn't doing the game justice, like I've said with vector-based games. This one I had to dumb it down a little bit to line up the maze, because the actual grid wasn't lining up very well. But the overlay over the top, this is an overlay-assisted game where you really aren't getting any color or additional graphics without the overlay. This is the 81st video game that we've seen that has an overlay. That's part of it. And this is the 34th video game that we've seen so far that has vector graphics up to this point. So the analog joystick is really nice, but it really doesn't do this game justice. I mean, it controls fairly well, and the gameplay plays fairly well. The vector-based graphics is what is taking this over the top, considering everything else you can play up to this point. The cartridge that we popped into this console is the same size as the cartridges on the Atari 2600. This is a 4 kilobyte cartridge. 4 kilopower. And it looks like we got everybody. Nice. Go ahead and cash in some points. Yeah, racking up really high scores here. Looks good. And Kun, I saw you in the chat. It does look more like Pac-Man than Casey Munchkin. Why didn't this one get sued? To my knowledge, there's no legal precedence against this game. At least not that I could find. So, obviously, Pac-Man is being ripped off here. At this point, we've seen this is the 140th clone of Pac-Man, or variant of Pac-Man. This is the 21st clone of Pac-Man on home consoles. Right now, the only way to play official Pac-Man on home consoles is on the Atari 2600 or the Atari 5200. And we're having a really good run here. If you're able to keep a good pace and remember to lure the criminals in the 4 corners, then you'll be all right. Some of the more popular Pac-Man clones we've seen on home consoles has been, Casey Munchkin, Casey's Crazy Chase, Crazy Chewy on the Creativision is one of the best for all home consoles. Ladybug on the ColecoVision is a really good one. Catrax on the Arcadia 2001. Lock and Chase on the Intellivision. Mousetrap on the ColecoVision. Lockjaw on the Atari 2600. Turtles on both the Arcadia 2001 and AdventureVision. Alien on the Atari 2600 more recently. Jawbreaker on the Atari 2600. And Pac Monster, which was on the Epoch Cassette Vision. So we're going to see this version later as Mr. Boston, which I think has 3D capabilities. But for my money, I would say this is still around, I would say slightly above average because of the vector-based graphics. I've said it before. If you were to twist my arm and say, would you give this 5 stars? Yes, I would, because I just love the Vectrex. It's too good. All right, there you go. So there's our quick taste of Clean Sweep for the Vectrex. It is good. It is very fun. It is still taking an archaic idea of the Pac-Man games, but it's done very well. It's executed very well. It has a gimmick that works, but I might say like 3.5 stars for all the games you can play. Looking over in the chat, I see some average 3.5s. Yeah, that's true. Like the Mousetrack, James, I can see that as well. But see, it's the vector-based graphics. You cannot get a game like this at home. Plus, it's an original game at home. I kind of said this with Mindstorm. Mindstorm was pretty good. So I honestly could go 4 stars. For all the games you could play right now on all home consoles, Clean Sweep could be a 4-star game. I'm thinking 3.5 to 4. Couldn't say the same as well. Brian, I see 3.5, and Curtis with 3.5. I really want to say 4 just because of how much of a novelty it is. If I could have this system with this game, it'd be great. And there, a 4 is good. Yeah, I'll say that. Clean Sweep is fun. It's an excellent video game, and because it's on the Vectrex, I'm going to go 4 stars for everything you could play on all home consoles. Because while the gameplay is similar, I mean, the presentation and what this console has to offer is doing it more. That's awesome. Very, very fun. All right, that's where we got to put our video game playing on pause. Thanks again, everyone, joining me here in the beginning of December 1982 to check out and play the latest video games and releases and pretend we're here and there's nothing else in the future with video games, so we can actually see what this game is based or how it plays based on everything else that's available out there. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, Combat gets ported to the Arcadia 2001. Does Atari know about this? More games for the only Vectrex in town, and we get into the Christmas spirit on the Commodore 64. That's it for today, and like I always say, don't let the Atari bedbugs bite. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without... Just kidding. I mentioned before that I wanted to do something a little special. I was playing the backlog videos and got to Wipeout, and I actually forgot that I can play Wipeout to actually rate it and get a chance to see what it's like. So let's check out and see what Wipeout is like. So we're going all the way back to 1974, released at some time in 1974. This is Wipeout by Ramtech. What's it going to be like? Howl Ivy did this one. Way to go, Howl. He's eventually going to go and do a lot of games for Exidy after this. Boots up in an attract mode, bounces all over the place. So this is another example of a last man standing kind of game. I'm going to put a coin in. Ready. And I need 2 controllers ready. Oh, it's loud. It is. Wow. That's better. So I need this one. This one is a competitive 4-player only game. So if you don't have a lot of friends, you can't play it. So this means I have to... There we go. We already got one that was wiped out. And we already wiped out that side. So you can see the... Oh, the game is already reset because the other side won. All right, let's do it again. Put a coin in and go. And now... Oh, you gotta be on your game to play. So the middle part cross, honestly, it looks like it shouldn't do anything to your game, but it does. It is bouncing off the edge, so it really adds a whole new layer of unpredictability. Wait, it didn't bounce off the other side. That's interesting. This is another game that is using transistor-to-transistor logic. So this is being played on a simulator for someone that is trying to make it as accurate as possible. But notice that when it goes in the middle, the cross really just, it flies all around. Yeah, you don't know which direction it's going to go. So if you lead it to the center, like see that, it's going back to my side. And it's keeping a running count of the, of how many lives you got, basically. And then whenever you run out of those, then you've been wiped out. We've seen this with Elimination, Quadrupong, Leader. There's a few other games we've seen so far that have done this. And so being able to play, we played Quadrupong. This one is pretty much like that. It's changing it up with the quadrant in the center. So when we get a chance to play this one, it's not as impressive as the other ones, but right now it's still it's good. It's fun, and it's very well done. I'd like to be able to play, if we can, some of the other games we saw in the backlog that were really strange, very much out there, considering everything else that's available up to this point. But I'd still say for all the games you could play in the arcade right now, Wipeout is an above average game. Now, it's difficult to rate because there's not that many games that are video games that are available right now. But I'd still say 3.5 stars for everything you could play in the arcade right now. At some time in 1974, Wipeout is above average, and you can tell Ramtech they're a little more creative with their game Clean Sweep that they did before this, and this one is trying to cash in on still the Pong craze or the Pong idea. All right, and so now we are officially ending the episode, and I will catch you all next time. Thanks for joining me on this hidden track of Chronologically Gaming. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.